I will ask you a question. People who is very religious and believe in heaven and hell, what will that mean for them when they go through the death process?
Good question. Actually, somebody asked a similar question not so long ago in a satsang. You know, I'm sure that you understand, and most people here understand, that heaven and hell are actually inner states. And you probably remember that I often compare the journey through the different layers during the death process. I often compare this to what happens in a meditation retreat. In a meditation retreat, it's a wonderful opportunity for people to meet the mind. The longer you sit in meditation with nothing else to do, the more the mind shows deeper and deeper levels of itself. And everything will come up, your own inner hell and your own inner heaven. This is actually why Stephen Levine, in his book, Who Dies, also about the death process, he says so beautifully, die to the mind while you are still alive. And the reason is, if you don't do this, all your belief systems, everything the mind believes and holds on to, it's all going to come up in the death process. And if you are still identified, for example, with what's right and what's wrong, what's good and bad, if you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, this will have a real, it will be very important during the death process, because you will manifest these states. So somebody who's going through the death process with a real strong belief in heaven and hell, you know, they can very easily manifest a state of mind which will be projected out in a kind of movie of God sitting there on a throne, you know, with a book about your life and deciding if you're going to be punished or if you're going to go to heaven. And people caught up in this kind of a drama can also start feeling guilty about the things they've done during their life, and then totally identified with this guilt and this idea of heaven and hell, they will slowly start getting pulled back into incarnation. They will start creating a new lifetime where they can play a role and put right what it was they did wrong in the last lifetime. But if we really look at what I've been teaching many people here, that all of this movie, it's just a dream. Ultimately, it's just an illusion. You know, creating another life to try to put right what you think you did wrong. It's like somebody who wakes up from a dream one morning and they're lying in bed and suddenly they're feeling very guilty because in the dream they didn't treat their neighbor very well. Oh, we can hear the neighbor next door at the moment. Maybe they were, you know, very rude to the neighbor. And so they decide they would like to go back to sleep and dream again so they can go and say sorry to the neighbor. I mean, what a lot of nonsense. It was just a dream. But the more we understand that the whole life, the whole movie is just a dream, then the more we are prepared to go through the death process without getting caught up in any of these old belief systems, such as heaven and hell and judgment day.